Woohoo! Yay!
So, this is my review of 2025. So, I thought I'd just have a quick chat about what I've been doing in 2025, mostly just for my own personal enjoyment, so I can look back at it next year or the year after and see what I was into, what I'm still into, things like that. So, I made a bit of a list on my phone, so if you see me look at my phone, that's why. I've got a few different sections, so I'll start from the top. So I'll start with TV shows. So I've not watched too many TV shows this year, and when I have, it's mostly been background stuff. So in terms of background stuff, some classics like Friends and things like that, like half-hour comedies. But I've also been watching some other things, such as I watched Race Across the World. So I've been watching the old series, the one in South America, uh, just because it was on Netflix and easy to watch it on BBC Player. I have watched a couple on BBC Player before, I think the Canadian one, but yeah, I think it's quite easy watching, quite good. One new comedy I've quite enjoyed this year, well, it's not new to me, was Statlet's Flats. I found that great, funny, just great, like realistic in that absurdist way. So like obviously it's quite ridiculous, but the characters you could feel were like real people. Uh, Another show I just wanted to mention that I've just finished watching was the Arcane, the League of Legends one, and I thought that was very enjoyable. It's great. It's been a while since I've watched like serious animation. It reminded me a lot of things like the new Spider-Man animated movies and things like. They used the fact that it was animated to be able to be a lot more artistic in like the imagery and stuff, which wouldn't necessarily be possible if it was like live action. So I thought that was very good. Uh, Moving on, music. So uh, I've been listening to quite a lot of podcasts. Firstly, so I've not been listening to that much music. I've been mostly listening to politics podcasts, so things like the Versus Politics, the UK and the US. Uh, but also been enjoying some like far right podcasts, just not because they agree with their views, because I find they irritating me. It makes me more kind of emotional and I actually enjoy being triggered. So I used to, when I was younger, I used to listen to like Rush Limbaugh, but obviously he's no longer kind of relevant. I think maybe dead. I'm not sure. But now it's people like Ben Shapiro. Don't go to the like uber crazies like Nick Fuentes on the thing, but I quite like being hearing what he had to say. I think uh, I've also been listening to quite enjoying Darknet Daily, so that's a podcast about uh, the dark net and hacking and things like that. I found that most of those are quite interesting stories. Recently, it feels like they're kind of running out of good guests, but occasionally it's a good one. I really miss. I used to listen to Replay All, but that stopped a few years ago. There was some scandal with a couple of the staff members. I've not really found a good replacement. I feel like Replay All is as good a replacement as I've found so far for these kind of abstract stories. So yeah, they're the podcasts I listen to. In terms of the music, I've been listening to quite a lot of angry, like Raid Girl. kind of music. So I really like Wet Leg, who's quite new and harks back to those kind of early Red Girl kind of bands. Uh, Other kind of modern music, I quite like Charlie XCX. She's great. Great like the attitude as well. It's great similar attitude like I am who I am. Uh, I also have been going back to some of music I used to listen to quite a bit, which what the one I've highlighted is Coco Benito, which is a kind of English group but very heavily influenced by Japanese culture. They do quite a lot of silly songs but with great upbeat. Like quite often when I'm listening to music, it's when I'm off on my runs. So I think for that kind of thing, it's quite good to have something upbeat, and that's again where I go for these kind of steady, aggressive or poppy kind of music. I do quite like kind of chilled out music, like I like trip hop kind of stuff, but I don't listen to that when I exercise. And I recently haven't been listening to that much music at home, so I've not been listening to that much of it. So yeah, that's pretty much music. I'll just quickly go on to theatre because I'm a cultured person. I've been to 2 theatre shows this year. First one, it was My Neighbour Totoro, which I thought was really well done. It is a bit of a children's theatre show, but I thought it was great. Good to great well done. Like the puppets were really good, and like the stagecraft, I think it's called, and like it was enough to make you quite emotionally invested. So it made you feel for the characters and stuff. So that was really good. And then the other one I wanted to see was Othello with Toby Jones from the Post Office TV series, and Detectives, which is also a good TV show. Uh, like it's Shakespeare. It's sometimes a little bit hard to follow. I get what they're saying, but I miss about like 25% of their lines just because they're great, yeah, Shakespearean. But it's still good, and it still had. It's always good to occasionally see something other than just like a standard musical or like a more modern theatre show to see like something a bit more traditional. Uh, but yeah, it was very good. But I think I wouldn't see more than like one kind of proper play a year, just because it's more requires more effort to enjoy. Just about that, I bought the tickets using Today Tix, which is like a app where you can get like great cheap deals. I think it's called Rush Tickets. If you like go on at like 10 o'clock, you can go off get cheap tickets for that day. We got both sets of tickets to do that, which was quite good. Uh, Now I'll move on to movies. So again, I've been to see 2 movies at the cinema this year. The first one was Nija 2. So my wife's Chinese, so she was really keen to watch that because it's very big. I think it's actually the biggest animation of all time now, and it's a Chinese animation. It's a sequel. I hadn't seen the original. I don't think I missed much, but it's basically about a kid with superpowers. And I didn't find the story brilliant on characters, but in terms of the animation, it was like really high quality, and like the battle scenes, there were like millions of troops, and it was great, impressive to watch on the big screen. So yeah, I think it was worth going to see it, especially at the cinema. Obviously, it had subtitles because it's not been translated to English, but that didn't really bother me. I watched quite a lot of stuff with subtitles. The other thing I watched at the cinema was Zootopia 2, which is again another animated film, and yeah, I think it was really good. It's much. If you've seen Zootopia 1, you know what to expect. It's nothing kind of groundbreaking. Uh, Again, they try to have like twist at the end and things to try to make it more interesting, but fundamentally, you're not there for the story. You're just there for a bit of entertainment. Uh, and another animation that I probably should mention that I didn't watch at the cinema is K-pop Demon Hunters. So I'm a big fan of the Spider-Man animated movies, having already mentioned them. Uh, K-pop Demon Hunters, I think, is made by the same people, and it has again lots of the great stylistic animation, which I really enjoy. I think if you're going to do an animated movie, it's good to embrace that it's animated and use that as an advantage rather than a limitation. And I think K-pop Demon Hunters did that. Personally, I wasn't that keen on the story. I think it's probably been more like for young female markets, which I'm not. Uh, but I still enjoyed it. I also I'm a bit surprised by the popularity of the songs. So although it is K-pop, which is very in trend, I felt like the songs were quite weak compared to lots of other K-pop artists. I made my favorite K-pop's probably Blackpink, just because again, great angry, shouty, upbeat, and I think the K-pop Demon Hunter songs just didn't have much attitude and didn't really stand out. Like, I didn't find them very memorable or anything. So yeah, I wasn't too impressed by the songs or the story, but in terms of animation, I thought it was very enjoyable. And the last movie I just wanted to mention is uh, Moxie. So it's was something I watched on Netflix, and I thought it was really good. And I don't see many people talking about it. It's about like a woman, like a high school student who's sees some kind of sexism in her high school and decides to stand up against it by starting like a magazine and things and carrying it. And again, this is what got me into the Red Girl music this year, is seeing that, and that's very heavily influenced by the Red Girl movement from like the 90s, maybe 80s, 90s. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Next, I'm going to go on to. So yeah, that's pretty much it for movies. Next, I'm going to go on to what's YouTube I've been watching. So I watch quite a lot of YouTube. I'm a bit of an addict. I watch a lot more YouTube than I do TV and things. So I'll go through kind of what I've been watching and, as you know, what I think. So one thing I've historically quite enjoyed is kind of a thing I called video essays. So my favourite kind of video essayist is Moongat, but I think she hasn't done anything this year. Hopefully she'll do something next year, but I think she's one of these people that puts in lots of production value in the video, so it's not often pays for itself. So I think even at her height, she was doing like one every 3 months, but I think she does streaming now, which is probably a lot better for making money and things. So don't know how if she'll get back into like the longer form videos. Other people I saw great like I've got Zara Z, The Right Opinion, and The Internet Historian. Again, I find them all great good, and that they do great deep dives on random topics, and that's what I quite like. I like to learn about some random topic never even kind of considered before. So I've been trying to find people that kind of linked do kind of similar style videos, because those kind of people, they tend to do like multiple hour videos. I think they quite often only do like a few a year, so I think you need to kind of sign up to a few of them. But yeah, a few people that I've quite liked in that kind of field, but a bit more, who have posted a bit more this year. So firstly, I have Ordinary Things. So I think that's very similar to kind of the Mooncat thing, where it's about some great important topic like the manosphere or something, and then they talk about for hours about different aspects of it. And again, he does like 3 hour videos. So yeah, that's Ordinary Things. Next one I'll mention is Rationality Rules. So that's one I've recently been going into. He does kind of analysis of speeches or debate. So when people kind of lose debates, he analyses how they lost them, the strategies involved by the two debating people and things, and I find that quite interesting. Just like the art of debate. Next I'll mention is Stephen Nduku, I think it's pronounced. He does lots of videos about Africa, and I find that quite interesting because it's like a world that you don't really see on like mainstream media and the news and things. Like there was a thing about selling cars in Nigeria and things like that, which you like. Africa is such a big part of the world. There's so many people there, but you just don't hear about it apart from war and famine and things. Whereas it's a bit more about like people's lifestyles, and especially like the middle to upper class there, which you don't really hear about. You usually hear about like the poor people in Africa. So I find his videos quite interesting. Someone else, Patrick Boyle. So he's economist. He does like economy related videos. I find his insights quite interesting. Like he seems to lots of these people are just kind of say the same stuff as everyone else. I find he kind of has a bit more insight and things. So and I quite like his dry humour. And then the last one I'll mention is Ziz, A-double-Z, who's again does videos about internet culture and great kind of long videos about again random topics. So I like that kind of thing. I like to know about like random internet cultures and things like that. Next, I'll go on to gaming. So I've been watching quite a lot of gaming videos. So firstly, kind of general gaming. I've really enjoyed. So previously, I've quite enjoyed Joss Strafe Hayes' worst MMOs ever videos. I think he's kind of run out of MMOs to do, so he's kind of dropped off a bit in terms of those videos. So he does some other videos, but I don't find them as interesting. So I've been looking for other kind of similar people who do kind of similar-ish style videos. The two I kind of want to mention, so the first one is Grailden, who does a thing called Steam Sequence, where he's trying to play every game on Steam in alphabetical order. I think he's still on games begin with the number 1, because there's obviously quite a lot of games on Steam. But again, he does a proper analysis of each game, And even though most of the games are just trash, it's quite good to have getting those kind of in-depth videos. And someone else who does great fun videos on games is Memora. So she's like a bit more like streamer style, but like you can tell her videos are made for YouTube, and yeah, again just reviewing kind of random section of games, which I find quite interesting. Other gaming videos I've watched quite a bit, so I've got quite into RuneScape videos. So I started off watching Settled's zero damage videos where I try to kind of play lots of the game without taking any damage, and if he took any damage at all, he kind of had to recreate his character. So that was quite good, and seeing the challenges he faced and how he kind of overcame them. And then that moved me on to Alien Food, who again has done lots of RuneScape videos. It's mostly the Ungated series, so that's basically he's trying to play without looking at any like guides, wikis, or anything like that. And I found that quite inspirational because like him, I always found like MMOs quite difficult because I find after you do a little bit, you get to the point where you're like, oh, I'll just look it up. And then once you start looking up, you start just following the gate and not actually playing the game. You're just like spend half the time looking up the optimum way to do things and stuff. So it's quite good to see somebody else who's kind of fed up of that way of playing, where trying to like move away from optimal gaming to kind of just enjoying yourself. So yeah, I found his quite good. Another person I want to speak out on is T90. He does Age of Empires 2 videos, and I quite like that because they're like commentary on games, but as well as doing some like high level games and new strategies and things, he also does lots of, he calls them low elo legends. That's more kind of normal people playing games and kind of giving his analysis on like how normal people play the game. And that's great, good, just because it's kind of quite realistic kind of thing, and quite approachable. And I find his videos are quite relaxing as well. I think I'm not the only one, so it's quite nice like to have us, if I'm like doing something, I have it playing in the background just as a bit of noise, something to kind of keep me entertained a bit. So yeah, I've quite enjoyed his videos. Last in terms of gaming, so I've always had a bit of a history like watching like Yogscast videos. So I don't watch like many of them, but I occasionally watch like their series. So I quite like the Angori Tom's videos. So he does lots of like reviews of games, and that they tend to be the kind of games I'm quite interested in. So I found his videos quite good, and again I find him quite relaxing. So quite often when I'm in bed, I watch like one of his videos just to kind of relax a bit. And the other kind of Yogscast video I've quite liked, they did the Jaffa Factory 2, and that's kind of brings back memories from like the early days where I did watch them more because I'm pretty much the same age as the main two people. I can't remember the name. Simon and Lewis. I'm about the same age as them, so going back to like the old style kind of Minecraft videos was kind of a nostalgia thing because I kind of grew up a bit more with them than with some of the newer kind of people. Moving on from gaming, I've watched quite a few finance videos. So I've already mentioned Patrick Boyle, who's like an economist, and I watch a few other kind of videos like that, but I also quite enjoy these kind of financial audits. I've been watching some of the Caleb Hammer ones, which are just entertainment. It's Joey Springer. It's just silly. It's not very ethical. I think they're slowly getting more and more into kind of drama rather than the kind of finance. So I don't find it's kind of useful or informational, but I quite like a reality TV show, and I see that as kind of an alternative to that. I've also been watching lots of Ramit Sethi, Ramit Sethi, who's this, also does kind of similar style videos, but he gives a lot more insight because he analyzes the finances, but also analyzes the people and tries to understand the people through the finances and vice versa. So I find his quite good in actually making you think about your own spending and how your own attitude to money. Like one thing he does, he often like has quite rich people on, not just kind of people on the poverty lane, and it's quite good trying to kind of when you have people like that and trying to push them to spend a bit more, not just be or you need to save every penny you have, cut your spending, which I think lots of financial advisors are when you're at any level, but he's more like just be clear what you want in life and just get it, and then spending on that acceptable. Just because you're spending that's not achieving those kind of goals. So I found him quite good. And lastly on my YouTube list, I just want to have a shout out to Sans Beanstalk, who he's like a great new person, very British. He does lots of songs about British culture, which are all great entertaining and great funny. But also he's recently started doing a few more kind of longer form videos. But again, they seem to be quite well kind of done. And from what I've seen, it seems quite entertaining. Next, I'm going to move on to what games I've played this year. So, as I said, I've been watching quite a lot of RuneScape, and again, that inspired me to start up again RuneScape. So, my history with RuneScape is I used to play it when I was 16. So, back in the early days, I think I was like right when it started out. I always remember like when Edgeville was the edge of the map and things like that. So I've started a whole new account and things, and I'm doing like the old school RuneScape because I want to kind of reminisce about like the good old days when I was 16. I'm also doing an Iron Man because, like I said, watching the Alien Food Unguided series has kind of made me realise I don't want to spend my life in the Grand Exchange and looking at the wikis to try and work out the optimum armour and weapon at my level and buying and selling things. And I think by being an Iron Man, I get to do the bits I enjoy without worrying about being optimal. I probably should because obviously being an Iron Man, it's a bit slower to do things, but I just want to kind of do things myself. Like if I want a weapon, I need to train up my fletching to make that weapon and things like that. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that and been playing a lot recently. Something I played earlier this year is Dave the Diver. So that was really good fun. That's great. It had quite a similar feel to something like Stardew Valley, quite story driven, pixel thing with yes a bit of like action. So in Stardew Valley it's your farming, in this it's your diving, but that's only kind of part of the game. Part of the game is just like speaking to people, doing tasks and things like that. So that's been really enjoyable. And then kind of all year, pretty much, the two games I've been playing on my phone and sometimes on my Steam Deck is Peklin and Blatro, which are both quite similar style games. And I think both are very enjoyable. Kind of, when you have like 10, 20 minutes, you can play a few rounds. You don't need to play a kind of, whole way through the game. You just need to play like a little bit and then you kind of move on and do something else. So I think they're perfect kind of phone games, or if I'm just want to do things for like 10 minutes before bed or something, then I find those games kind of great good pick up and drop. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my 2025 review. One other thing I just want to kind of talk about is other stuff. So I don't have much in this. The only thing that's kind of I wanted to mention is my use of AI. So I'm not very good at saying I. So I've I've always found kind of creativity a bit difficult. Like I'm interested in lots of it. I'm interested in photography. I'm interested in making music. I'm interested in writing. But I think because it's never been my focus, and because I have got a lot of interest, I always found it hard to get excel at anything. Like I picked up ukulele a couple of years ago, and I just don't practice enough, and things like that. So I found AA a way to kind of help me fill in some of my holes in my kind of abilities. So the two things I've been using a bit of is ChatGPT, which has been great good for like just rating stuff and uh, coming up with like it's using it to generate random pictures to send to people and as like memes and all that kind of thing. So I've quite enjoyed that. And also I've quite enjoyed using Suno, which is like music generation software. So my way of actually started using it, and I found it really good because I quite like having like a project, and I think previously I've always found it quite intimidating. So like one project I have is I want to do like a new Mr. Tree using like Blender and making the music myself and all that kind of thing. And because I need to learn Blender, I need to make music which I'm not good at, and I can do like simple loops and things. I've got like a chaos cork calculator and things which are quite good for like simple loops and things. Making more proper songs is quite difficult, and I was again going to try using some software for that, but it's all kind of intimidating. And because of that, it's been years and I've not actually kind of done any of this stuff. Well, by using something like Suno to generate some like music, I can still be creative in writing the lyrics. I can still being creative and like making the music video, recording clips, editing them together and things, which is a lot more manageable and it's something I can do in like 1 or 2 evenings after work. Well, kind of learning these kind of tools from scratch, like the Blender or I can't remember the music app I was looking at, but like learning those from scratch, it's quite a heavy time investment, and it's something you need kind of to sit down and spend like half an hour to an hour on at a time. And to be honest, I don't really have that kind of time available, so I found AA as a way to kind of make myself a bit more able to kind of be creative. Like at the end of the day, I don't want to be a full time artist or anything. I'm happy with my job. I'm happy to work my 9 to 5, all that kind of thing. I'm kind of content with that. So I'm not trying to kind of make a career out of YouTube or out of anything like that. But I just like creating stuff and sharing what I create, and it's allowed me to kind of be a bit more creative and open. So yeah, I found that really good, and hopefully by using tools like that, I make a few more videos and kind of be a bit more creative rather than kind of just being intimidated and scared off by having to learn kind of more complicated tools. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, like I say, I just wanted to talk about this year, as it's now, I think, December 30th. So it's almost the end of the year. So I just wanted to kind of have this as a memento of kind of what I was interested in, what kind of things I was kind of, what my life was like this year. So yeah, hopefully I'll do something similar next year. And until then, goodbye.